Good evening to the business world. Welcome to Business Today. I am Joram Paul Sonko and this is Smart 24 TV. Let's first have a look at our top stories.
Business Today, at least 11 billion will be invested to improve the power grid in eastern Uganda. Government promises to develop a policy of parish development model to benefit Ugandans in diaspora. New taxi park authorities oppose hawkers' relocation to taxi park.
And this is Business Today. I'm Joram Paul Sonko with Winnie Buyinza Nakauchi on sign language. All right, now we start with bridging financing gaps, as financing institutions have played financial support towards unlocking the potential of Uganda's manufacturing, agribusiness and tourism sectors. The expected role of the financial sector is to ensure sustainable access to structured financial services to the three sectors. We have the details to this report.
Will bridge the financing gap to catalyze economic recovery. The Uganda's National Development Plan 3 highlights, among others, manufacturing and tourism as the key primary growth sectors that have developed multiplier effects. This requires critical focus. The manufacturing sector accounted for 14.1% of the total bank lending in 2007 and dropped to 13.1% of the total bank lending by the end of September 2021. Uganda Bankers Association attributes this to high interest rates both in the three sectors, hence forcing most of the business players out.
Three sectors are key, critical in the economy, like he said, because of their multiplier effects across manufacturing, tourism, and agribusiness. But like she asked, first of all, interest rates have been high and not competitive, and in your own analysis, the trend has been dropping in terms of portfolio exposure to the manufacturing sector. In the past, if you looked at all the sectors, there has been a corresponding increase in financing trade compared to manufacturing. However, the COVID pandemic brought out certain things because we are heavily reliant on importation. When the supply chains were blocked and we couldn't trade as much, it became clear that we need to rely on domestic manufacturing to drive growth.
According to the data from the Uganda Bank Association, direct loan manufacturing exposure to financial institutions regulated by the Bank of Uganda currently stands at 2.4 trillion or 3.1% of the total loan exposure. During the annual bankers conference, the Deputy Governor Bank of Uganda, Michael Ating Ego, says that they will consider how banking sector can stimulate productivity growth to boost overall growth.
Today and tomorrow's conference sessions will consider how bank financing can stimulate productivity growth and high-value exports to boost overall growth and forex inflows. We also urge the banking sector to finance enterprises and activities that preserve and protect the environment so as to manage the associated climate risk.
Beyond the thinking of the past, how do we support these sectors? How do we make pricing, address the issue of pricing? And you had our chair today in our opening remarks speak about the 1 trillion shillings export facility, that the regional export facility we are working on. And the whole idea is to bring other players together with the banks so that we form a consortium. And what that does, it addresses risk, it brings in people with cheaper sources of funding, and we put them together in a pool. That way, the lending rate for that facility will be much lower. The terms and conditions will be structured and customized to support manufacturers' export. That's the whole objective. So hear me clearly. The pricing that you talked about will be much more competitive. It will be a structured trade facility to enable our manufacturers then export.
The hospitality and tourism sector is a major source of employment, revenue and foreign exchange earnings. The sector accounts for 7.8% of the GDP and 6.7% of the total employment, creating close to 700,000 jobs. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, now we move to the Agripreneur as bridging the gap between the diaspora organizations and the rural stakeholders. The Ugandans living and networking abroad in partnership with government and the development agencies led by the Food and Agriculture Organization launched the Diaspora in Agribusiness Network. The network is aimed at bringing together all Ugandan international migrants to ensure that they invest back home. Naomi Mutumba reports.
You can sign, and then the file representative signs as a sign of launching the Uganda Diaspora in Agribusiness.
Several diaspora networks exist across the world, but they rarely focus on agribusiness and lack diaspora inclusive policy dialogue around investments and employment opportunities in agri-food systems. In order to bridge this gap and maximize diaspora contributions to the agri-food systems transformation, Food and Agriculture Organization has supported the launch and setup of the first Ugandan diaspora in Agribusiness Network. When asked about the initiative, the Ugandans in diaspora who attended the event had this to say.
Much pleased to learn that this organization is creating a network that is going to impact lives here, because lots of people in the diaspora actually, they have exposure to resources, they have exposure to markets, they have exposure to technology. So with all this, we can make a huge difference back home here. So I think this is a chance that is being created so that we can be able to connect, to link our country, Uganda, with the diaspora.
Been involved with UDAN and FAO in matchmaking very many youth enterprises and youth businesses. It's been ongoing since 2018. The marriage basically is for the diaspora to have an opportunity to come back and invest in Ugandan-owned businesses, in Ugandan youth-led businesses, in order to solve one of Uganda's biggest challenges of unemployment.
Now, we've been having challenges with the finances. This is evident everywhere. We've been having products, but then we don't have enough finances to facilitate or to run these good products that we have to sell out in the diaspora. But now the fact that we have these people from the diaspora who want to match with us people in Uganda here to make sure that we have our products put on the international market. I think now it's going to be amazing, the fact that we are going to have the finances, we're going to have a rapport. This rapport is going to help us to develop Uganda, to develop agriculture, to develop every product that is set out in Uganda. And I urge every young person out there, please find something to do for yourself.
Uganda currently has 1.7 million international migrants working in different countries of the world and remitting over $1.2 billion to Uganda. Ambassador John Muthathi Muhindo, in charge of the diaspora desk in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, noted that the youth in the diaspora will benefit from the matching through investment returns, product access, and marketing of agriculture technologies, among others. He adds that government has promised to develop a policy of the parish development model to benefit those in the diaspora.
I'm working on a paper which is going to address the issues of the parish development model with the diaspora, so that this diaspora parish development model is not simply dealing with Uganda inside here, but also dealing with the diaspora. So that when, for example, we are dealing with agribusiness, can we have people from the diaspora who want to invest in the rural areas?
The Ugandan Diaspora Agribusiness Network brings together around 60 Ugandan diaspora agripreneurs residing in 9 countries of the destination in Europe, Japan, and the USA. The members are identified and mobilized through focus group discussions. Naomi Mutumba, Business Today, Smart 24.
All right, now Women is making heavy investments this time round. And in a bid to improve power reliability in eastern Uganda, the power distributor Umeme has earmarked 11 billion Ugandan shillings in projects to be implemented by the end of this year. This investment will address the power supply challenges of the line from Jinja to Kamuli and wrap up the Iganga-Busitema line stretching to eastern Uganda. These and more as Rona Nahabwe reports.
Current and prospective clients in eastern Uganda look forward to receiving better services in the major network expansion and improvement initiative. Although there will be inconveniences during this implementation of the project, Umeme is optimistic that the services would improve once the works are done.
So we are launching a program which is worth around $3 million, which will cover the refurbishment of a number of feeder lines which are not performing well and with reliability issues. There are mainly 6 lanes we shall be refurbishing under this program. The first one is Mbale, Bubulo, right? Second one is Bubulo, Bududa, Ikiki, Kibuku, Tororo, Busia, then Nagongera, Butaleja. We shall be covering Bulangia, Palisa, and among others. In this program, in these areas, we'll be replacing poles, some with the concrete poles, expanding the size of the conductor, installing auto switches such that if there are faults coming from specific areas, they can be isolated without affecting broadly the customers, and more important, also strengthening supplies to the hospitals that are along those lines. We believe with this last phase of investment, this Elgon-Tororo belt will be receiving more stable, reliable supply for the benefit of the consumers.
Some of the services being undertaken include revamping old power lines to stabilize the electricity supply.
Is a section of one of the projects that we're doing on the Iganga-Chibimba line that is in a bit of disarray, that is going to undergo extensive rehabilitation as part of a 12 billion shilling rehabilitation program in the east. As you can see, some of the network have been reclaimed by the lake. The residents here have not had power for over 2 years, and so there was a need to intervene, and the government has allowed us to execute these projects using funding sourced directly by Umeme. This area here, Waka Waka, has required a full redesign of the line that's going to supply the neighborhood. In the same neighborhood, we have a factory there, and our community. We have been privileged to have the support of the community to keep some of the critical hardware, but the line is going to be rebuilt totally.
The managing director says this exercise requires them to switch off the live wires.
We require switching off the lines to enable the work. We appeal to the communities and our consumers to be patient with us over the next 3 months up to September, October, where the works will be completed, to ensure that we can switch off the lines, refurbish them. The ultimate benefit after the refurbishments will be much more reliable supply to their benefit. So we appeal for their cooperation, we appeal for their support, we appeal that they bear with us during this period jointly so that we can refurbish these lines for a better supply.
The company has rationalized billing and commercial processes through rollout of technological solutions, leading to a sustained collection rate of 99.8% of bid revenues. Rina Habwe, Business Today, Smart 24 TV.
All right, now back to the capital, as authorities in the new tax pack have resented Kampala City Council authorities' plan to relocate hawkers into the park. The authorities say that the relocation of hawkers back into the park will congest the areas. They now argue that the exercise could result into increased criminality. Let's have the details of this one.
The new tax park was one of the major operational grounds for the hawkers, with an estimation of over 1,500 hawkers transacting within. City traders associate disorder and insecurity, including petty thefts of hawkers, as Robert Sechitoleko, the vice chairperson, says.
Faba new park okusinzira ku batembeeyi engeri gye baala ebintu wansi ne conjection eri mu park
Smart 24 has, however, reached out to the new launched grounds in Kalere, where construction of new hawkers market is set to begin. City authorities have organized at least 3 acres of land in Kalere to host the new hawkers place.
Kendo ya government balina otutegekera kubanga naffe tutubadde tutumanyi tuyibayiza otufuna okukola ki okukolera.
Tubasanyufu nnyo olw'akatale kano government keetusuubiza okukola ki otukolera naffe tufuneko effo byetukola ki byetukoleramu.
Smart 24 visited Wandegea Market, which earlier proposed to host the hawkers.
Bebo badde mbakubira omulanga n'oba n'abeera ku nguudo enkya ne bakutwala eruzira ne bakutwala wa tuyingira akatale tukaaba ennaku emu sanga munnange gavumenti enaatuwulira naye tuyambira ffena muki mu butale.
Help us and allow us hawkers to work. You know, when we go to town, there are those people in those arcades. They don't have time to go to the market. And sometimes when they go to the market, they get disappointed. Sometimes like fish, you know, fish is a very funny thing. When you go to the market, sometimes they give them rotten fish. When they eat, some of them, they have even lost interest in eating fish because when they go to the market, they give them rotten fish. When they reach home, they find when the fish is rotten. But now when we started and we could enter in those arcades and we give them fresh fish, they now have that appetite for fish. They have it.
Lubega Richard, the chairman, Federation of Kampala Hawkers and Vendors Association, says despite KCCA efforts to gazette a suitable place of operation for the vendors, their operation in the tax park are also essential.
Mbagamba nti paaka ezo tugenda ziyingizaamu abatembeeyi oba baagala oba tebaagala. Batembeeyi bagenda kutukolera mu paaka empya n'enkadde n'endala zonna. Ekyo kyo tuli ku lutalo okuzza batembeeyi mu paaka oba tutya oba ne mwana ba minisita nga yaganye oba ani tugenda bazzaamu.
Design Nambiru, Smart 24 TV, driving business.
Let's talk Owino Market as Kampala Capital City Authority plans to light up the city's largest market of St. Baliku Dembe, also known as Owino, through the United Nations Development Program. KCCA will roll out the project meant to improve the security of persons and property. This and more with Monica Nabionga.
Executive Director of Kampala Capital City Authority, Dorothy Chisaka, says the UNDP funding will help them improve the market.
They wanted to see firsthand what's going on in Owino Market. Where can we help KCCA to develop it better? They wanted to see how the women work, what are their needs, and they've also heard and they saw on the social media that the market has gone back to the people. So they want to come in and we work together to develop not only this market, but the markets around the city. That's why we've come. We've had a conversation with the leaders here, and there are various opportunities that they want to be part of.
The UNDP will select 30 women from different markets and sponsor them for tours to other markets in Africa in a bid to help them exchange knowledge and for the improvement of their businesses.
To support you, and we will do a number of things for the Wananchis, for the real people. We will touch the women and the youth and the men who are here in Owino. We have agreed on a couple of things. First of all, to help light Owino, because the President, Susan, talked about the fact that this is a very important need. We also want to help with some of the pavements and also the stalls. But importantly, we want to connect Owino to other African countries as well. We must not only sell here in Uganda, but can we connect the market women in Accra, Makola, woman to woman, youth to youth, to be able to sell.
This comes days after President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa vouched for the ownership of the market to remain public.
We thank His Excellency who elected to cancel the lease of Owino, because it was a great thing. It was a great pressure for vendors, because the lease was owned by few people, but now it has gone back to KCCA. We have hope that our market will be secured.
President Museveni, in a July 4th letter to the Minister of Lands, Judith Nabakova, ordered for cancellation of the land title of Owino Market in Kampala Central Division, arguing that market land is communal and cannot be claimed by individuals. Museveni ordered Kampala City Land Board to cancel the land titles earlier issued to private developers to own the market. Monica Nabyonga, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
There's a new campaign in town, which is Prices Must Fall, regarding the high increase in commodity prices in the country. Now, the Uganda Police has called upon business owners to return to their duties with the assurance of a stable security network. This comes after a series of stay-home strikes in different parts of the country, expressing their dissatisfaction with the daily rising in essential commodity prices. The demonstrators have created fear amongst business owners, threatening to cause harm to whoever will not abide by the set standards when they open their shops. Let's have more of this one.
We had our teams deployed in anticipating violence, and the whole of yesterday we kept on monitoring different territorial areas, and we want to inform the country that there are no untoward incidents. The security situation still remains calm. Yesterday in Kawempe, there were attempts by the councillor representing Kawempe 2, that is Senono Dennis, also known as Den City, together with Freddy Nyazi Sentamu, Emmanuel Serunjoji, the mayor Kawempe, Muhammad Nsubuga, councillor of Makerere Parish 3, Thomas, the councillor of Wandegea, that is Wagonza Thomas, together with Kemigisha Sharon. They were trying to mobilize residents within Kavempe division, shopkeepers not to dare open their businesses. So we managed to conduct some arrests, and we also impounded some motorcycles that were being used in the mobilization of shopkeepers not to open their shops. Apart from taxis that operate from Kaliro to Kampala, they're the ones which were not moving, but we expect by end of day they will continue to move. Luka district is also normal. It's only taxis that are not moving in Luka. And Kamuli, it is only buses that are moving and charging people exorbitantly at 10,000 instead of 7. Then Buyende, business was moving at normal. Generally in Kampala, business remains calm. The jurisdictions of Kawempe North, KMP North, that is Nansana, Kasangati, Wakiso, Bwaise, Kalere, and Wandegea, shops were open and people were going about their businesses normally. The other place in the areas, KMP South, areas of Natete, Chibuye, Buboa, Kajansi, Katabi, and Entebbe reported a normal and calm situation. And also KMP East, that is Jinja Road, Nakawa, Mobs, Chitintale, Chinawataka, Mutungo, Bina, Luzira, Chambogo, Chireka, also remain calm.
All right, now let's put our eyes to the tourism sector, as the Pearl of Africa, has for years made efforts to uplift the tourism sector by exploring untapped opportunities from the industry. As a result, many tours and travel companies have come up with the aim of promoting both domestic and international tourism. However, the pandemic did slow down this progress. Mary Goretti, Nachiganda reports.
This did not only affect the revenue of their company, but also their personal incomes as well, something they are struggling to recover from, as Peace Nasike, a salesperson from TIO Tours and Travels, explains.
It was performing well, but when the pandemic hit, we were most affected. Somehow it's like we're out of business. There was nothing coming in. Yes. So whoever survived by the grace of God. So yeah, since it was opened up, and we are doing our best to get back on. We are trying to bring in new products to supplement what we already had, so that we can be able to, to meet our operational costs as well.
Sector players are resorting to online marketing to reduce the costs and remain afloat.
We do have a new product on the market. We have a market space or a marketplace in form of this app on my t-shirt. This is the TIO app. On this app, you can book a hotel, you can rent a car. Okay, we are also working on putting flights on it. So at your fingertips, you can book a hotel right at your fingertips. Yes, you just download it from Play Store. Right now it's not yet on Apple Store, but on Android you get it from Play Store. So when you have downloaded it, you can access as an everyday person. You can access these services.
Huge challenges remain in promoting local tourism, as the numbers are reportedly low given the hard economic situation here.
Embracing this so much, but we want them to embrace it. Yes, we want them to embrace it, including because we have local tours, we do have international tours, okay? Because you are in your own country and you don't even know how Queen Elizabeth looks like. That's not fair. And yet someone flies all the way to come and see it.
Arts and crafts, made in unique shapes and objects that make the African race stand out, has been cited as one of the most attractive things for tourists here. Mirembe Ann, a dealer in crafts at Insambia Crafts Market, spoke to Smart 24 TV on a wide range of materials that many tourists buy from them.
I have gifts, things that you can offer to your loved ones. Now, for example, we have this kind of gifts. These are the kind of things you can offer to someone and someone will appreciate. Now this one is 40,000 because it maintains a lot. It has wood, it has wood, it has ivory, it has a lot of things combined with it. It looks small, but it's something. One good thing about these things, they last for long. You can keep it for as long as you want. Now this one is 40,000 because it maintains a lot. It has wood, it has wood, it has ivory, it has a lot of things combined with it.
Margaret Nachganda, Business Today. Smart 24 TV, driving business.
We continue driving business after the break with the Coffee Court. Stick around, this is Business Today.